Before we jump into this episode, I want to take a moment to tell you about the upcoming Texas Woodworking Festival, a 2-day celebration where makers and enthusiasts come together to share their passion for the craft. Join us for a weekend filled with creativity, community, and inspiration. You'll meet tool manufacturers, furniture makers, woodworking clubs, content creators, and more, all in one place with great food and drinks, and of course, all things woodworking. It all takes place in Austin, Texas on September 26th and 27th. The festival features an education track on both Saturday and Sunday, where you'll have a chance to learn from masters of the craft. Plus, there's also a special pre-conference content creator track on Friday, September 25th. Head to TexasWoodworkingFestival.com for more details and to grab your tickets. Use code MWAP10 to get 10% off your tickets. I'll drop a link in the show notes. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, there's something for everyone at the Texas Woodworking Festival. Don't miss it. All right, let's do this again. Hi, I'm Kyle, and on this episode of the MWA podcast, Sean, Jeff, and I are asking Deneb Puchalski the 5 questions. I still got it wrong. Okay.
I don't even get in the intro anymore?
No, you don't.
Man, you miss a couple weeks, you're out of the tree.
I know, you're out. Yeah. Okay. All right, one more time. This is it. I'm leaving all the rest of this in. Hi, I'm Kyle, and on this episode of the MWA podcast, Sean, Brian, Jeff, and I are asking Deneb Puchalski the 5 questions. I think that might have been a little closer. And if you haven't already, please be sure to check out Deneb's interview on episode 608. So welcome back to the show where I butcher your name like 3 different ways.
No. That was the scrub plane of introductions.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Deneb, I'm sorry.
I answer to just about anything.
Yeah, it's a common. We blame Texas for
That's
Kyle's mispronunciations.
Yes,
it's
yes.
just something about it. I don't know.
Southern
I didn't grow up with any Polish people that I know of, you know?
It's all phonetic reading. I mean, he can't help.
Yeah,
every letter.
They're in Texas. They changed their last name years ago.
Mhm.
No, we actually have a lot of German and Czechs. Those are some fun names too. But anyway, well, with that, before I butcher Deneb's name any further, let's move on to the woodworking news. So first up, Lost Art Press has a new book.
Hey,
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson's Declaration Desk. So this looks like I don't know how popular this is. I know back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, this was all the rage, and I think there had been several articles in some of the woodworking magazines about Thomas Jefferson's Declaration Desk. But this is like a little writing desk, writing. It's not a desk. It's more of a writing. What would you call it?
something to put in your lap.
Platform? Yeah.
Platform. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I could see you putting that on a desk to write, but it has a little angled thing where you can write. And apparently he wrote the Declaration of Independence on such a device. And this book is pretty cool. It's about an 80-page book. It's reasonable at $27. And the author was a Wisconsin Circuit Court judge and retired Air Force colonel and a longtime woodworker, and was a Thomas Jefferson aficionado. So he had been really passionate about doing this, and looks like unfortunately just passed away this year. But anyway, so this, probably one of the culminations of his, study into Thomas Jefferson in this particular desk. So if you're interested in this, it's a cool thing, and I think it would make a cool project to build.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be the perfect prop for an iPad.
Yeah, I mean, it's an iPad stand in modern times.
Yeah.
But, Kyle, I remember seeing stuff like this with the little leg that flipped out and had little detents to flip.
Yeah,
to change the
I want to
angles
say
and
it was in either Popular Woodworking or Fine Woodworking back in the day.
Is that the one with the carved knuckle? Is that
No.
No,
it's
this is a hinge. It's a hinge and just a thin leg on the back that catches little grooves.
Because Roy Underhill was doing
Yeah,
a few years ago.
that ruled
8 or 10
rule joint.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Probably
this
an
is-
older version or maybe not so older version. I don't know. This looks really refined.
Yeah. but it's pretty cool, and it looks like a nice book, and like I said, it looks like a nice project. I mean, this would be great to have, something that you want to, put a copy of the Declaration of Independence on to display it in your house. No, it would actually make a great gift or something like that too. It's intricate. I like it.
It is. It's
Very
very
delicate.
in what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, delicate, thin materials,
Yep.
lots of little things, but yeah, it'd be very interesting.
Yep. And with that, next up, Ramon Valdez. I think the last episode I kind of mentioned this, but I want to go in a little bit more detail. But he has a new domino dock out. It's the Domino Dock 3.0, and this is for the Festool DF500. That's a smaller one. And he's kind of continued to improve this domino dock. I think this one is pretty much all 3D printed.
Looks like it.
Yeah, and it's absolutely fabulous. And I recently got a 3D printer, and I was like looking at some of the stuff I could do maybe to make either a lower cost version of my jigs or do some stuff that I haven't been able to do before, at least prototype some stuff. And I did reach out to Ramon, and I had asked him one simple question, and he gave me a 4-paragraph answer, which was fantastic. But Ramon's quite the guy. We need to get him on the show again and talk to him about this. But yeah, it looks fabulous. It also sells with these, I think they're bow dogs, they're called. They're a dog they're a little dog that goes into your dog hole, and you can turn a screw and it kind of locks them into place. Mm-hmm. So you can use this with the domino dock to basically lock in to your bench. So, or make another contraption that you can lock it in. But you can order this with or without the dogs. And anyway, looks pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I have the original version of the domino dock.
I do too. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it comes in handy. It's a pretty cool thing. And if you don't know exactly what a domino dock is, go out to Ramon's and take a look at it. If you have a domino, you need to have one of these if you have a domino, basically, because it just makes doing small parts like so easy, where you're not fighting the machine.
It's safer.
Yeah, it's a whole lot safer. So anyway, and then next up, I've been holding back on this because I knew we had Deneb coming on, but he has a holster for the number 60.5 block plane. What this is a little leather holster that you can put on your belt, and you can, just put your block plane right in there. So it's, ready to draw at any chamfer you might need or something like that. And it's absolutely fabulous. And of course, I had to mention this because our good friend Jason Thigpen of Texas Heritage Woodworks is making this for Lee Nielsen. So
very cool.
It's fabulous. It's fabulous. So I'm glad y'all are doing that partnership with him.
Yeah, we've done leather stuff for a long time.
Yeah,
and originally we were getting stuff made in France with a friend of Tom's was a connection for that. Mm-hmm. Then we tried to bring it over and have some people in Maine do it, and we bounced it around to a bunch of different people, and people just can't. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't work. And we've known Jason for a long time, and finally just reached out to him to see if he could do these for us, because nobody could. Just people weren't getting it right, and and he's doing a real nice job with it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You got to have a woodworker that's now a leather maker.
There you go.
He still does some woodworking on the side when he's not repairing cars. Anyway.
Yeah, right.
He's still working on the Jaguar?
No, the Jaguar was done years ago, but yeah.
Doesn't he do a lot of cars that have wooden frames though?
Yeah, he
for sure.
Yeah,
I think he did.
Yeah, he redid it. Well, I think he he started his career in being like a exotic car mechanic. Mm-hmm. And working all types of exotic cars, and then he got into woodworking and started doing this. And then some customers of the shop I think that he used to work to bought this Jaguar. It was basically a concept car that Jaguar made back in the day. There's only like one or two versions. It might even be the one version, but basically it was like a wooden frame that they had hammered aluminum onto, and the thing was total disrepair. So they basically had to rebuild the wooden frame. So he helped rebuild the entire wooden frame for the car.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I think it won something at Pebble Beach, the big concours there at Pebble
Okay.
Beach. I think the car won. So yeah. So I'm not sure exactly what category it won, but did do something there. So yeah, that's cool. But anyway, so if you would like to have some of Jason's work and for your 60.5 block plane, check that out. And of course,
Which is
always
so popular. It's on back order right now.
Of course. Jason's got to get to work. But and as always, listeners, there will be links in the show notes for all these. With that, let's give our patrons a shout out. So who do we have to thank this week?
Yep. We like to give our patrons that shout out you just mentioned. Today, we're giving that to Garrett Robertson. Garrett, thank you for supporting
Robertson.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
I know. Yeah.
You're making fun of Kyle here.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrible.
I know it's
Garrett Roberson, Mr. Roberson. I'm very sorry. If you would like to join Garrett in supporting our show, you can do that by going to patreon.com/MWA podcast.
Yeah. I'll correct you on the WASP. You can correct me on the Polish name.
That's awful.
All right. Well, with that, Deneb, let's get into the 5 questions. So what is your favorite tool? And as always, our limit is 23.
Well, that's good because I've got a lot. I would say if I could only have one plane, it would be the 62 with an extra tooth blade. That's the low angle jack blade.
Mm-hmm.
When we came out with the tooth blade, which was early 2000, it really changed the way I approach roughing stock because it allows you to take heavy cuts without worrying about tear out. And it's easier to push, and it just makes it really easy to take a lot of material off fast. And then you can follow that up with a blade with the straight blade, and you can change the angle. So if you're working in something difficult to plane, you can put a high angle, maybe a 50-degree secondary bevel. That gives you a 62-degree effective working angle. And so stuff that you might not have been able to take heavy cuts in because it was too hard or highly figured, you can do that with the tooth blade. And then when you have a high angle sharpened blade to follow up with that, you can get that all cleaned up and get a beautiful smooth surface that you never thought you'd be able to do.
Now, is the tooth blade any different to sharpen than a regular plane blade?
No. I used it. So when we were talking about sharpening in the last segment, I mentioned that I use a 35-degree secondary bevel.
Mm-hmm.
I use that for pretty much everything, unless I have a very specific reason to use something else. So my tooth blade and a regular blade that, like if I got the 62, I would take the blade that it came with and I'd sharpen it at 35 degrees. I sharpen the tooth blade at 35 degrees. I like to also have another blade for that tool that I sharpen at 50 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
But just changing the secondary bevel. I don't change the primary bevel.
Right.
And the reason I do that 50 degree is what I was just talking about. If you've got really hard wood or highly figured wood, that extreme high angle will give you much better results. And so it allows you to have a lot of different potential and versatility with one tool. But I think if I were going to say just a straight up favorite tools to work with, that would be the number 8 or the number 51. Those are tools that just put a smile on my face every time I push it across the board. It just feels so good. But if I'm trying to make something, my favorite tool is actually a little more complex. My favorite tool is what we consider the core tool set, which is a jack plane, a joiner, a smoother, whichever one I love, which for me would be the 62, the 8, the 4.5. Then that'll take care of all of your dimensioning and surfacing needs. For joinery and detail work, you want a block plane, a shoulder plane, a router plane, and at least 3 chisels. I'd get like a 3/4, a 1/2 inch, and a 1/4 inch. And then I'd want to have some saws to be able to separate stuff. If I had a dovetail saw and a carcass saw, now I can do some joinery work. So with that group of tools, that one tool,
right,
I can get stuff. I can take a pile of wood and turn it into a thing. and that's ultimately what we all want to do. So to me, that is my favorite tool.
Sorry, my cats are fighting.
I was about to say, are we hearing a cat?
Yeah, two of
Sean,
them.
you-
Or that's
Are
some
you
really
okay?
bad indigestion you got there. One of the two.
So, they're around my feet and they're arguing with each other. I do apologize.
And the reason I say that as my favorite tool is that people come into our showroom or come into a show or give me a call or whatever. And the first question they always ask is, what's the one tool I need
Yeah.
to be able to do woodworking? And that is the tool.
Yeah.
Well,
So think of each one as an individual component of the tool, not as individual tools.
which is your favorite block plane?
Well, that
16 and a half?
That's another thing of function versus feel.
Mhm.
So the 102, the little bronze block plane, I don't
Yeah.
care what size your hand is, that plane feels like it was made for you.
Mm.
That's cool. I put it in my back pocket if I'm just bouncing around in the shop. We call it an apron plane because the idea would be if you were wearing a tool apron, it would be in the apron pocket. But if I'm looking for more versatility, more overall function, I would have the 60 and a half, the low angle adjustable mouth. Fortunately, I don't have to make those kind of choices. So I have whatever I feel like I want to have.
Yeah.
Yes, there are benefits for working for Lee Nielsen. Yes.
But I think it's
can
really
imagine.
important. The main reason I mentioned the core tool set is I think it's really important for people to understand that they don't need as elaborate of a set of tools as they might think they need.
Sure.
That's 11 tools.
Mm-hmm.
And if you break it down to the sort of more mundane of it, the cost of that tool, thinking of it as a tool and not as a bunch of individuals, that tool, brand new from us, costs between $2,500 and $3,500, depending on which components you make it up of. So some tools cost a little less than others. So you want a jack plane, a joiner, a smoother, block plane, shoulder plane, router plane, a couple saws, and a couple chisels. A table saw, decent table saw. You're lucky if it's only $3,500.
Yep.
That's right.
A good quality cabinet style joiner or a planer. You're lucky if it's only $3,500. A bandsaw, again, you can get them for $1,500 to $2,500, but that's kind of a low end, not all the bells and whistles kind of thing. To make things, you need a joiner, a planer, a table saw, a bandsaw, a bunch of routers, sanders, all that whole array of things. And each one of those pieces is about the same cost as this, because when you get all the router bits and you have 2 or 3 routers, because you're not going to just have one, and you're going to have a bunch of different sanders. And if you go get the Festool stuff, because you just got to have the best, you're dropping $600, $700 for a random orbital sander.
Right.
Before you even buy the $1,200 vacuum cleaner, that if you don't have it,
Yeah.
you might as well not have bought a Festool, because do what you expect it to do. So for $3,500, that includes the sharpening set that you need to keep these tools functioning and working.
Yeah.
So for $3,500, you can be working in a 5x6 space in the corner of your living room and start making stuff.
That's right.
The only problem is now you don't have any excuse.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have to just
You
start
got
making
all the tools.
And the other benefit is you don't have to have a dust mask and
or dust
hearing
collection.
protection.
There's another
Yeah,
area
yeah,
where
on
it's
all
Yeah,
the
all
time
that.
when
Yep.
you're
on
on
the
the
dust
shop.
collection system.
Yeah.
You need a little broom and a dustpan. Sure.
Yeah.
But
So
nothing.
that's my favorite tool.
Yeah. No,
It's
that's
the one that
awesome.
lets me build stuff.
Yep. So then on to the next question. Who has influenced you the most?
I'd say in terms of just personally and professionally and in what I do and how I do it, I've worked for Tom Lee Nielsen for 25 years. And there is very little that I do that isn't influenced by him in some way. So that's my primary influence, I would say. But in terms of my skills and the woodworking side of things, I don't have one. Everybody I talk to is an influence.
Sure.
There are a few people who really stand out for me as sort of beacons in the woodworking world. And I mean, I don't have a whole lot of heroes, but Frank Klaus and Phil Lowe are two. Phil just passed away a couple of years ago, sadly. I mean, that one hurt a lot. But those are two of the finest people that I know, and they happen to be able to do things with woodworking tools that most people can't even imagine. But they just had and have a way of bringing people into the craft that I've always admired, and I've tried to emulate the way that they work with people and do stuff. Chris Schwarz is another one that I've known him for as long as I've been at Lee Nielsen, and we're about the same age. So we have kind of followed a very similar path along this stuff, and I've learned things from him from the stuff that he's dug up from different books and stuff that I never would have even thought about doing.
Yeah.
If I hadn't seen it from him, and what he's done with Lost Art Press is amazing. I mean, I think, like I've mentioned several times, I mean, I feel like my job and my role is to share as much information as I can about hand tool woodworking. And Chris has an audience in the same way that dwarfs what the audience I have, and he doesn't abuse that
Right.
at all. If anything, he runs from it a little.
He does.
And but he always is trying to do something. He's trying to bring the right information to the front, and that's something else for me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frank Klaus is he's way up there.
Yes. I've been fortunate. I met him a couple of times, but yeah, he's something else. He is something else.
I've had the pleasure of working with him.
Yeah,
very close, and it's just he's just a remarkable guy.
Have you been to his shop, the Rotunda shop?
Yes, I have.
Oh, I'd like to see that. Yeah.
I've had a couple beers in that shop.
Just a couple.
That's great. All right. So our third question is, what is your white whale? So this is the one thing that you haven't made, but you've always wanted to.
I've been working my way into doing stick chairs, like the Welsh style stick chairs and the Irish style stick chairs that Chris has been doing, because I've always wanted to do chairs, but I've made some stools and some I've built one of Peter Galbert's perch stools, which is sort of a Windsor carriage with a sculpted seat. But I really want to do some chairs, and that's my next big thing. Very good. Yeah, I mean, I've always said, if you can build a boat, you can build anything. And I feel kind of the same way about chairs, because you have to think differently to do chairs. And so if you can get your head around that, the rest of it's easy.
All right, Jeff.
What is your number one tip for your fellow woodworkers?
I would say the biggest thing to me is work with intention. Don't do things randomly, because it never works out well. I mean, just everything from pushing a plane across a board to whatever it might be, do it with intention, because what you're doing may seem trivial at the moment, but it all has bearing and meaning. And that's why people are drawn to woodworking. Most people today they work hard, but there's nothing at the end of the day that they can say, I did that, I made that, this is a piece of me going into the future. And I think that's what draws people to woodworking. So when you're making things out of wood with your hand, don't do it randomly. Be intentional about what you do. And the other thing is what I mentioned earlier before is don't get too tied up in the complexity of all this stuff. There are 2 skills you need to have success. You have to be able to keep your tools sharp, and you have to be able to set your tools up for what you want them to do. If you can focus on those 2 elements, everything else comes, because the tools will it'll become sort of they'll teach you what they're capable of doing and what other tools pair well with them. But you have to be focused and paying attention to what you're doing to be able to do that and read that. So don't get worried about, do you have the right tool or this or that? It's how am I setting this plane up? Am I taking a roughing cut? Am I taking a flattening cut? Am I taking a finishing cut? What size tool is going to be most suited to this type of cut? Those kind of things just lead you into what the next progression of things are. And if the blades aren't sharp, they don't work. The tools don't work. They don't function. So
For sure.
you have some door stops, and that's about it. So focus on those 2 things to have success.
Okay. So our last question is, what is your go-to finish?
I've used a lot of different finishes for different stuff. Over the past year or so, we've started messing around with purified linseed oil. And specifically, like I mentioned before, that one of the things I've been doing is a lot of the maintenance stuff and redoing the building at our place. One of the things I was doing is painting everything. Anything that gets painted with latex paint rots, because latex paint traps moisture. And so we try to use oil paint wherever we can, for a little bit better durability and whatever. And started playing around with some stuff and realized that there are people making linseed oil paint again. And there's a reason 250-year-old houses didn't rot. And that's because they use linseed oil paint. And linseed oil paint allows water to breathe out through the paint. It doesn't trap the moisture in the wood. And all wood has moisture of some kind in it.
Right.
So when you paint a wooden surface, like the outside of your clapboards on a building, you're sealing the moisture in, and that's why latex paint peels off in sheets off of houses all the time. And more importantly, we try to be as responsible as we can as a company. And one of the most shocking things that we learned when looking into this linseed oil paint is a massive percentage. I can't even remember what the number that was quoted is, but it was 80 or 90% of the microplastics in the ocean and the ground come from latex paint. Because it's everywhere.
Where? Yeah.
Right.
Getting sanded, it's getting dumped in the landfill, it's getting poured over the side of boats, it's everywhere. And it's plastic.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Purified linseed oil is essentially food grade. You can eat it. You can put it on cutting boards. You can put it on spoons. You can put it on anything that's going to be around food. But because it's the purified form and not boiled, it doesn't have the drying agents that make it help boiled linseed oil dry faster than raw linseed oil. Like raw linseed oil never really dries.
Right.
It might skim over on the top, but underneath it's always a little tacky. Boiled linseed oil will dry, but it's got all kinds of toxins in it. Purified linseed oil dries like any other oil finish that I've ever used. And I've always tried to work with either shellac or oil finishes. I just like the tactile feel of that. better than like varnishes or polyurethanes or anything like that. Those building finishes, just I'm not crazy about them, and I try to use woods that I like the look of, so I don't have to paint them.
Right.
And I don't like to do stain for the same reason. If I want a different color wood, I'm going to use a different color wood. I'm not going to put a stain on it. But we build benches. It's one of the things we do, and we used a finish that was a 3-part finish. 1 part boiled linseed oil, 1 part turpentine, and 1 part mineral spirits. And when you're putting that finish on a bench, you know it. It's got a bite.
Yeah.
And we just started, as we started seeing more about the linseed oil stuff, we started looking into it a little more and realized that this stuff works really, really nicely. And so we did the extra stuff beyond the boiled linseed oil to make it dry. It's 1 part, no, it's not mineral spirits. It's 1 part boiled linseed oil, 1 part turpentine, 1 part spar varnish.
Right.
So varnish, not polyurethane. And we started playing around with the idea of using just the purified linseed oil, and put some on a bench, and it dries within like an hour. It's dry, and you can put another coat on. And that one might take a little bit longer to dry, to set off and cure, but it actually dries and cures. You can put 2 or 3 coats on in a day, and it's an amazing finish, just that alone. And you can wax it. You can do all kinds of different stuff to dress it up a little if you want, but it's completely non-toxic. It's coming from flaxseed, is where it comes from. So you can buy it at the health food store. It costs a little more.
Yeah, I must say it costs a little more for little bottles. Yes.
The company that we've been working with, that we've been getting ours from, is called Earth Paint. It's Earth Paint Purified Linseed Oil, and it's amazing stuff. And then there's a bunch of different places. There's some companies in Scandinavia that I think Sweden and Norway particularly, that have been making linseed oil paint all along.
Yeah, I think all back, I think, is one of the companies.
That's one, and then there's Viking is one.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a few.
Yeah.
But the colors are really nice. They're using natural pigments to tint them, and it's a responsible finish. You know, and it looks really nice, and it works really well. So I'm going to be, anytime I want color, I'm going to be using linseed oil paint. And anytime I'm just looking for a finish, I'm using the purified linseed oil.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that is cool. Well, so with that, Deneb, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
I've got an Instagram account. It's DD Puchalski, just or at DD Puchalski. I don't post much on there. It's mostly pictures of me fishing and and stuff I'm working on. But you can find me. The easiest place to find me is on the Lee Nielsen website. We have a YouTube channel that you can link to through the website. If you go to the education tab at the top of the toolbar on the website, there's one of the headings is free instructional videos, and when you open that up, you'll see a hyperlink that says YouTube channel. There's over 60 instructional videos there, and I'm in a bunch of them.
Yes.
Yep.
And frankly, anytime you have a question, or you need a little tip on something, you can send an email to toolworks@leenielsen.com. Just address it to me, and I'll get back to you. You can call into the shop at 207-273-2520. And if I don't answer the phone, you can ask for me.
Wow.
It's we are a rarity in the world. First of all, there's nobody in the world doing what we do in terms of making the tools that we make, and how we do it, and what we're producing. But more importantly, we have a rule in our customer service office. and there's only 2 or 3 of us working in there. But we answer the phone on the first ring.
Mm.
And if it rings twice, then somebody up in our like finance area or what is somebody else in the upper hallway is going to grab the phone. You're not going to talk to an answering machine or an AI bot or anything like that.
Or the dreaded phone tree.
Or the phone tree or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You might get our answering machine if everybody in the building's on the phone.
Mhm.
But that's the reason.
Yeah.
And so we just firmly believe that our customers deserve to talk to a person. And if you have questions that person can't answer, they're going to find somebody that can. So
Fantastic.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. Well, Deneb, it has been a pleasure to have you on the show, and we really appreciate your time. And this was absolutely fantastic. And that just about wraps it up for this show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And while you're there, please leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at MWA_podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go over to patreon.com/MWA podcast. But the best thing you can do is tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way in sharing our discussion.